In this video I'm going to show you how to play an aggressive CT side on Inferno, using real examples from one of my own games. You'll learn when you can get away with pushing and how to turn those aggressive plays into round-winning impact. Let's jump right into it. So we will be starting off with 3 different variations for pistol rounds. The first one is if your teammate is peeking mid, peek it with him. You're increasing the chances of his survival and the chances of getting an entry advantage. Make sure you don't overswing but rather stay on 2 different corners. If the enemy wants to challenge your teammate by wide swinging, he will be peeking into a 1v2. Here's an example of the enemy making that mistake. Second variation is for the short or apps player, and it's jump spotting boiler. There's a lot of ways you can play off the round just by doing this jump for info. What I like to do when I see nobody second mid, I instantly drop down from the balcony. By the time I do this, I usually get the call it's B from my teammates, and I'm already pushing down mid for the flank. Sometimes if you're fast enough, you can catch 1 or 2 players off guard, possibly carrying the bomb, and if you just get 1 kill from behind, that could change the entire outcome of the round. If you kill the bomb, just hold it, or if you don't spot anyone, continue pushing up. Another variation of the same pistol round, if you do spot people second mid pushing up, the best is to fall back to balcony and play crossfire with your teammates if they are splitting short and apps. And the last one would be just peeking mid for info. You do this by not fully committing to a fight in mid, but rather scout where they are going. And then, you rotate to yourself based on the information that you're giving. If you see them go towards B, you head towards B. If you see them pushing mid, you fall back and play crossfire with your teammates again. If you want to see how I play Inferno, where this round is included, you can check this video out. It's a series where I speak everything that goes through my head during a game on Inferno. So for the eco rounds, I suggest not being aggressive at all, and rather delay the time with your utility. But if you still want to go for aggressive plays, here's a play you can do that I think you guys are already familiar with. Is the Ren's drunk driving play. You execute this by throwing a Molotov down mid, running with it, immediately throwing a smoke on top of it, move a bit to the left, and right click a flash through the smoke. This is very risky, and you could potentially be throwing the round away with this play. I don't recommend it, but it's really fun when you do it. Here's an example of how I did it, but nobody was ramp.
Banner clear. Cast second mid.
Second mid.
Caps.
One guy with.
Let's finally get to the most important part of the video, which is buy rounds. How do we find the perfect gap on when we can peek and stay aggressive, but remain unpredictable throughout the entire game? Let's find out. This video is sponsored by Skin Club. Of course, you have to be 18 years or older to play on this site. Skin Club is one of the biggest case opening sites out there, with instant withdrawal system, free daily cases, a wide variety of game modes, and plenty of deposit options to choose from. Here's how it went for me. I opened the case, got the skin, took it to the upgrader, and with a bit of luck, hit a nicer one, which I could instantly withdraw and use in game. If you want to try out Skin Club now, make sure you use my link for a 7% deposit bonus. To be able to become aggressive, we need to pay attention to what the enemies are doing in the early stage of rounds. Is there any patterns we can see? Are they flashing mid every round? Are they nading mid every round? Are they flashing then peeking mid? Are they flashing then jumping into Mexico? Are they mulling apps every round from second mid? Are they aggressive banana every round? All of these things matter for us to be able to find gaps on when we can execute an aggressive play. The best way to search for these patterns is hanging around mid for the first 5 rounds, not doing anything aggressive but rather just wait. Maybe a jiggle for info and always listening for sound cues such as this Molotov into apps from second mid. Most important information is how they are playing mid. If the enemies are always flashing mid, nading and peeking, they are already denying your aggression. But think of it this way, if you don't show aggression in the first rounds, they will just think you're a passive player on A. And not all of the times are those nades going to be thrown, especially if you show no intention of being aggressive. It can lead to a sign of wasting utility for no reason. And whoever does throw the nades in mid, they won't always have enough economy to keep throwing this utility. Also, maybe the player has a different idea in mind, which could be going banana or second mid for a change, and they need to have their set of utility to be able to make some sort of play. These changes is what we are waiting for to activate our aggression. Once you know these patterns, I suggest starting off with a simple mid peek. Not all the way though, but staying like this so you aren't taking a 50-50 chance, but rather waiting for anyone trying to jump Mexico. This is where you can see if the enemies are allowing aggression. If you aren't getting contested in this mid peek but you still hear a Molotov being thrown into apps, next round is an invitation to peek into second mid. You would execute this with the help of a teammate to be faster, or you can do it alone. It would be a simple molly down lower mid, and you yourself throwing the smoke you can use as cover. Here's how I did it.
You want to close green?
No, you can.
Okay.
Laying down smoke.
He's over half one.
You can also peek second mid if you don't hear a Molotov being thrown. Use this mid peek as an example for every other part of the map as invitations for aggression. Now I want to get into mid-round aggression. There isn't much you can do in the mid-rounds other than always peek and stay aggressive, but that would be called throwing and ego peeking without much of a strategy. I suggest having a nade with you for unexpected smoke breaks. Maybe molly boiler and break the smoke so you can get some mid info or even a pick, and especially saving these nades for retake scenarios, like I did in this round for B. Aggressive retakes and rotations. Now that we know how to always take info on mid, this allows us to know where the enemies are headed at all times. We don't really need to wait for our teammates to call it's B for us to come to that conclusion. These fast rotations allow us to make some really good plays. Here's an aggressive play you can make for retaking B. The enemies have killed our solo opera holding banana. Skill issue. By the position of the red dot, I can see that the T has roughly the same amount of time as I do to make it to the site. The only difference is I know site is clear and he doesn't. So I can run with my knife while they run with their guns, which will make me get there faster. As I get to this position, I know I can go for the pop flash play. There is no CT smoke and I know all of them are still on the left side, which is the only reason I can make this play. If only one of them crossed the site, I wouldn't be able to do this. I get in a corner and right click tab W jump throw this flash. One will cross the pool but it won't matter as he will be fully blinded by a flash. There's a lot more plays you can do by pushing smokes. Take a look at this one for example. Okay, so I have a teammate that's flanking the two T's on banana and yellow is pushing the smoke. My biggest concern here if purple dies to anyone holding flank. If he does, the T's have plenty of time to rotate back to A, or even fake the rotation and stay banana, which would force me and my teammate to split up. And I don't want that happening. And he's dead. Now they can go back, unless I instantly push the smoke and challenge the guy close to the site.
Both banana. First banana, both banana. Last banana, right side. Nice.
Here's another tip if you're holding second mid with the op. Position your crosshair a bit higher around chest level so you don't have to flick or adjust as much if you get peeked like this.
Nade right side.
So the point of this video is to make you realize what goes on behind some of the aggressive plays. It isn't just pushing and out aiming, it's rather outplaying by being unpredictable. Pay attention to your surroundings every round, and the more you learn about your enemies, the more gaps you will find for these types of plays. And the same goes for all the maps. The more you try to exploit these gaps, the better you will get at finding them. And if this video helped you at all, please leave a like.